Welcome to Your Future, Your Way, where we explore the many ways to reach your academic and professional goals. Whether you are a recent grad, considering career advancement, or even changing careers, this podcast is for you. There is more than one way to do higher education. This is Your Future, Your Way.
Before we start, we want you to know that the views, information, or opinions expressed in this podcast do not reflect the views of the Division of Continuing Studies, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, or the Board of Regents.
Hi, my name is Anna Danucci, and I am an enrollment coach at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Today, we are catching up with Jesus Cortez, who was featured in a previous episode. In just a few years, Jesus pivoted from having an engineering background working with me as an enrollment coach at UW-Madison to graduating with a master's degree in special education and becoming a middle school teacher. His passion for teaching has already earned him honorable mention for a Crystal Apple Award, a local award given to teachers in recognition of outstanding contributions to education. Let's revisit our interview with Jesus from 2022, where he described his educational journey and his decision to transition from engineering to special education.
So hello, my name is Jesus Cortez. I am currently in the special education teacher certification master's program here at UW-Madison. And a big reason why I chose the major that I'm in is because I felt like I wanted to do something to better the world. So I guess my academic journey starts at high school, really. I'm from New York City, if that's not evident yet. I am from the Bronx, born in Manhattan, raised in the Bronx. I went to public school throughout my entire time in New York City. And if you're not familiar with how New York City education works for high school, when you're in middle school, you're given like a book that is textbook thick, and it has all the high schools in New York City. And you get to list 13 of them that you want to go to. A lot of pressure for a middle schooler. So I knew that I was good at math and science, and I was like, oh, this has to be the way to go. And engineering is profitable. So I was thinking this would be the way to go so I can kind of better my life and my family's life. So I went to a high school called Bronx Engineering and Technology Academy, or BETA. And it was a school focused in STEM. At the end of it, I was valedictorian of my high school for my year. So that was a really big accomplishment for me. And the next leg in the journey was college, UW-Madison. I immediately knew once I came into college, I was going to be an engineering major. I was already in the engineering school. I knew that that was kind of the path for me. So I immediately started in that, on that path. And the major was engineering, mechanics, and astronautics. Super excited to learn about aeronautics and learn about how to make rockets and airplanes and just learn all the things about that. And I pushed through. Engineering was difficult because there's a lot of work involved in terms of like all the stuff that you need to learn before you really are an engineer. So after I graduated, I worked at the financial aid office for a couple months, and then I got a job in the Division of Continuing Studies. I started my job in 2019 October as an enrollment coach full-time. And I wasn't even in the office for a full year until March 2020 came, and we all know what happened then.
This episode of Your Future, Your Way comes from UW-Madison Professional Programs, offering over 90 graduate-level programs including online and evening and weekend options for working adults. For more details, visit us at go.wisc.edu/pro.
I lived in a studio at the time, and I lived by myself. So it was me, myself, and I always. And that gave me some time to think because I didn't have to go into the office. And I learned a lot about myself, especially with what was happening around that time. George Floyd's murder, um, Aubrey's murder, that kind of got me. It really hit me because I was like, whoa, what is happening here? Like, never really looked into that stuff in terms of inequality and racism and how racism has affected opportunities for people. So I was able to have a good deep think about what am I really want to do? What do I love? Who am I, pretty much? And when I really started getting down to it, I realized that I'm a problem solver. Throughout my career, the jobs that I really enjoyed were in student services. I really enjoyed working with students. I really enjoyed being kind of a mentor, helping students kind of get through really any struggle that they were having. And they were pointed at certain areas, right? Academics, financial aid. So that kind of led me into, okay, education, the inequalities there. So something that really gets me is the school to prison pipeline. So that means when students are expelled or suspended, now they are not in school, they have a higher chance of having a run-in with police. And comes back to George Floyd, Aubrey, Rodney King. What happens when boys of color meet the police? What happens? There's a track record there. Education just kind of was that natural path for me to think, okay, there's a problem here. Let me try and fix it. So that's the route I started going on, and I found a program that fit with my interests, my needs, my timeline, and I had funding for it. And I applied to the special education teacher certification master's program, got the funding that allowed me to be able to do this program, Teacher Pledge, which is a great opportunity for any Wisconsinites that are interested there in that. I started my program in summer 2021. I'm in my first real semester of in-person learning, and immediately the first class I knew, I was like, yep, I'm in the right major. I found it. I know that this is it, because in special education, people with disabilities, not even only in education, but in society, people with disabilities are discriminated against at a massive rate. So I'm excited to be a teacher. I'm excited to kind of see how policies affect teachers' lives and how they affect students' lives, and how to implement all I'm learning in my master's program into the classroom. That's I'm really excited about that.
Now that we know his backstory, let's catch up with Jesus to see how he navigated his transition into teaching middle school students after graduating with a Master of Science in Special Education teacher certification from the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Okay, so after I graduated in 2023 with my special education master's, I started teaching that next school year in a middle school here in Madison, Wisconsin. And I actually just finished my first school year, and I'm on my summer break now. Going through my first school year was a roller coaster of emotions, and trying to figure out how to even do my job, because I think teaching, like learning about teaching in school, is one thing. Actually doing the teaching is another thing. And I think that's for any career, really. But teaching especially is difficult in a middle school. So because you have 600 11 to 14-year-olds running around all the time, and you're trying to also teach them how to find the volume of a cylinder at the same time. So it's there's a lot of flexibility that you need, because middle school is hard. It's a time of change, and we're all just trying to deal with it, but also learn, find an area of a triangle. So as a special educator, on my team, I focus on the math aspect of special education. Um, and I think, and if any teachers is listening to this, they'd understand one of my favorite parts is that aha moment. It's a very stereotypical favorite part of a teacher, but if you ever had a moment with a child, any age, and they have that bright bulb aha, oh, I figured out how to do this, oh, I see how the area of a triangle is half the area of a rectangle, I see that um being able to pi is just the ratio between the circumference and the diameter. Like when they're able to get that aha moment, it brings joy to my heart, and then makes me realize, yes, this is why I'm a teacher. um and building those relationships, and that mutual want for success, that is one of my favorite parts, because once the students believe that you believe in them, then they start to kind of believe in themselves, and then they buy into the system that you're trying to show them, because they believe you, they believe that you're there, um, to help them grow. They know you're there for them, and that's some of my favorite parts right there, just building relationships, getting that aha moment, and just helping them believe in themselves, because again, middle school is hard.
Navigating middle school is hard, and so is making the decision to change educational or career paths. We'll wrap up our interview with Jesus sharing his advice for anyone who is considering pivoting career paths.
Make sure your decision to change careers is what you want to spend your time on. Um, and for me specifically, as a engineer, I just wasn't happy, and I knew that, and I was looking for something to make me happy. But I'm still a problem solver at heart. So now being a teacher, I realized I made the right choice, because if you've ever been in a school, you have to problem solve every dang second. Every second you have to make a decision. Every couple of minutes you have to figure out how to help a student get over a breakup. Every every half hour you have to figure out how to collect pencils from students that you let them borrow, which is, yeah. Um but if you remember to always keep what you love about your job, because what if you are thinking about changing careers, you probably started the career you're in for a reason. What was that reason? And and for me, it's because I was a problem solver. So if your reason was for anything, maybe look for a career that still has part of that in it, because that's one of the things that you really care about. Because I remember having to make the decision of having to go back to school, especially after graduating. I'm like, I don't want to take more tests. I don't want to write more papers. But at the end of it, I realized that it was worth it, because, especially at UW-Madison, in the education school, which is an incredible school, plug to the education school. um, I learned a lot, and being a teacher, it shows that I learned a ton from UW-Madison. I also didn't learn everything I needed, but that's okay, because they prepared me for that, and prepared me for things that I wasn't necessarily being taught um, outright in a class, and I found success. So I ended up my very first year as a teacher getting honorably mentioned by the Crystal Apple um, Award. which is like a teacher of the year, and being honorably mentioned for teacher of the year as a first year teacher really shows the success that I found. And part of that was due to the fact that I had an incredible program here at UW-Madison.
Congratulations on achieving your dream of becoming a teacher. In your first year in the classroom, you're already making a positive impact on your students and the community. Thank you for your dedication to helping students reach their full potential. If you're considering entering the education field, visit education.wisc.edu to explore the nationally renowned programs offered by the University of Wisconsin-Madison School of Education. To wrap up, we know the decision to go back to school is a big one. You have to think about your current professional commitments, the needs of your family, and the specific skills or knowledge you want to gain. Our goal is to provide you with the information you need to find and apply to a program that fits your needs. We are here to assist you every step of the way. Please feel free to reach out to coach@pdc.wisc.edu, and one of our enrollment coaches will be in touch. We can answer questions about your program of interest, application materials, and we can guide you to resources specific to international students and more. Have a great day, and on Wisconsin!
Join us next time to learn more about professional programs at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Learn how to shape your future your way.